What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we just received the jobs report just yesterday, and the stock market went crazy. And so I want to talk about the impacts of what we just saw when it comes to retirees, people receiving Social Security benefits, because this will have a negative impact specifically on two different areas. And one of those areas is very important to people receiving Social Security benefits. We're talking about this increase, this COLA increase that you receive every year. And this can definitely be impacted by what we just saw in the jobs report, as well as President Trump firing the head of BLS. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's start from the beginning. So what did we learn yesterday? So we learned that the jobs report showing plus 73,000 jobs in July. Okay, now there have been some revisions. I'm going to go over this in a second, but we just know the latest information was 73,000 new jobs created in July, and that was under what was projected. Now, if we just go back, I just want to look just to see kind of the patterns here. So last July, this is where we were, and then we went down a little bit and jumped up a little bit here. So we're about, if you want to look at from July to July, the numbers looked about the same. But we haven't seen the revisions yet. So the revisions could change this. But you see we've had some good months, some bad months. We had some really good months here, November, December. That was mainly probably due to seasonal jobs. And then we saw January, we started seeing some drops here. And then we also have to talk a little bit about DOGE. We saw a lot of federal jobs being lost as a result of DOGE, or people being laid off. And so the revisions here, we'll go over those exact numbers, but you see very, very low. And then in July, we saw the 73,000 new jobs. So how is this going to impact people receiving Social Security benefits? That's what you guys want to know. And so let's take a look at how jobs impact people receiving Social Security benefits. So if we go back and we think about how Social Security works, if you have fewer people in the workforce, that's less money that's being generated by FICA. You have less money being generated by FICA. That means you have to take more money from the trust funds. And let me explain what I'm saying here. So if we're looking at fewer jobs here, so if we're looking at the jobs market and we're seeing that you have less people in the workforce, and let's say unemployment is rising, that means you have less people contributing to FICA. And so they're showing here payroll tax revenue. If that is on the downswing, that is going to impact people because you have less money going into the trust funds. Okay. Now, also, we have to talk about, you have more retirees. You have more people who are qualifying for retirement and more people that are taking Social Security. And experts say that 10,000 people are eligible or become eligible for Social Security every day. And so you can see there are a lot of people that are signing up for Social Security now. We saw record numbers. I think the increase just to this point here in 2025 is like 15%. So you see there are more and more people that are applying for Social Security. But then if you look over here, we have less people working, which means that's less money being generated. Okay, and what that is going to do is that's going to mean that that trust fund that's sitting at about 2.6 trillion right now, it will deplete a lot sooner. And the talk right now is 2033 is when, if Congress does nothing by 2033, the trust funds will be completely depleted. And so that is an issue, because if the trust funds get completely depleted, we're going to see a cut across the board of about 23% for everyone receiving Social Security benefits. Now, this could be expedited if we look at the jobs market. So if we have less people working, less money going through FICA, that means you have to pull more money. And let me stop and explain this, because I don't think I explained this completely. So when we're talking about FICA, we're talking about when people are working, they're contributing 6.2%, their employer's matching that 6.2%. That money goes to pay out benefits, okay? Now, we have a trust fund, or we have actually two trust funds. So you have money that has been coming in over the years, and we had a surplus. We don't have a surplus anymore, but back when we had more people, we had a lot of people in the workforce, and you didn't have as many retirees, we were able to collect money, and we had a savings, if you want to look at it that way. And so that's what the trust funds are. That's what the 2.6 trillion is. So you have money there. Then you also have money coming in through FICA every 2 weeks, every paycheck. People are contributing FICA. So that money is helping to go pay out benefits. Now, if you reduce the amount of money that's currently coming in through FICA because you have less people working, that means that you have to pull more from the trust funds, the 2.6 trillion. And so that's where we are right now. That's the problem that we're looking at. Okay, so in July, we saw that 73,000 jobs added. Now, when it comes to unemployment rate, it ticked up to 4.2%. And then the labor force is shrinking. So we know we're seeing this labor force shrinking. We saw the revisions in the last several months. If you looked at the revisions here, so in May, the original number came in at 144,000. They revised it down to 19,000. That's a huge revision there. The change there is minus 125,000 jobs. In June, we saw 147,000 jobs added. The revision was 14,000. That's minus 133,000. And so I don't know what we're going to be looking at in July, but you remember July, we were seeing 73,000. So if they revise that, it could potentially be in the negative. So we didn't add any new jobs in July. That could be what we see. We don't know yet, but just looking at the last couple of months, the revisions, it's insane, these revisions. Now, as a result of this, President Trump, what did he do? He fires the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so they're the ones that control or basically put out the information when it comes to jobs reports, but also when it comes to COLA. And that's where I want to go next, because when we're talking about COLA, every year you have the cost of living adjustment, and they base that cost of living adjustment on CPI. CPI is coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You've just gotten rid of the commissioner, the person that runs the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And the reason that that person was fired is because the information that they were providing, according to the president, wasn't correct information. And so that is why he went ahead and fired her. Now, in the future, what are we going to see? We're going to see a new commissioner come in because President Trump is going to have to appoint someone new. And is that person going to be loyal to Trump, or are they going to be loyal to the American people? And when it comes to CPI, when we're talking about inflation, presidents want inflation to be relatively low. They don't want it to be high. And so if we're looking at a situation where inflation is actually high, okay, and I'm just running the scenario. Let's say that inflation is high. It's higher than what is being reported. But the reason why it's being reported lower is because the person who's in charge, or the new person that comes in and they're in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they're afraid to make it any higher because they could lose their job. And so you see a problem there, because what we just saw the jobs numbers, they weren't as high as what the president thought that they should be. And so what did he do? He fires the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And going back to some of the headlines here, Trump says that he'll fire labor statistics head after weak jobs data. And then CBS is reporting, Trade Advisor says Trump has real concerns about jobs data after president fires labor statistics chief. And then we have NBC reporting Trump tariffs and jobs report send markets tumbling. And then Reuters is reporting Trump fires U.S. labor official over data and gets earlier than expected chance to reshape Fed. And that's a whole nother topic, and maybe I'll do a future video on that, talking about the Federal Reserve. And then New York Times here is Trump claiming weak jobs numbers were rigged, fires a labor official. And now I want to go over a comment, and this is right on. This is spot on. This is coming from Sat Jr., and he or she says, Trump just fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics that determines COLA. He will appoint someone who will change COLA to whatever Trump wants. Could be a change to 2.2%. Who's to stop them? And this is what it's all about, because you could be struggling right now. Things could be really bad and they are bad for a lot of people. I mean, we see inflation. We know that inflation's here. We go to the grocery store. We know when we buy products, they're more expensive. But guess what? We could see in the future, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but we could potentially see in the future that the numbers coming from BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's not correct. And if that information is not correct, that is what they're going to use, because as we stated on the show before, when it comes to calculating COLA, they're going to use July, August, and September. And so the next 3 months, we might not be getting the right information when it comes to inflation. And that will impact how much people are going to receive in their COLA benefits. And it could be a smaller number. And I will tell you that at this point, we were looking at about 2.6%. That's what the projections were. They're probably going to come down. it's probably not going to be that much, even though, and we could be in this situation here. And this is the worst case scenario. Let me just put this out here. We could be in a situation where we see inflation at all-time highs, but it's not reflected by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it might not be reflected because you have the head afraid to show inflation higher than what it really is. And that's going to impact everyone receiving Social Security benefits, veterans as well, because they use the same metric when it comes to COLA. And that's going to be a horrible situation for a lot of people. And so I just want to put this out here. I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. But this is a reality. Now, the hope is that President Trump appoints someone new, and that person is on the level, and they say, no, we're going to go by the book, and we're going to put out the information the way it needs to be put out, and we're not going to make any changes or anything like that. That is the hope. Okay, that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, we don't get the correct information, and that impacts COLA. So I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.